we appreciate you and actually your product. We use your product quite often here at ManyMangoes. And so why don't you just give us a quick introduction of who you are and a little bit, maybe a snippet about your product, and we can then get into some more details. But
yeah, sure thing. So I will clarify, I am not the founder, but I am the CEO of Journey.
Okay.
And maybe just to give a little bit of context, I run with two of my co-founders a small portfolio of SaaS companies called XO Capital. Journey is one of 12 businesses that we've acquired over the past 3.5 years. Yeah, we've, ranged from buying small micro SaaS companies all the way to former YC businesses. So yeah, our learnings have been plentiful in terms
Yes.
of sales and marketing. And yeah, Journey is the way that I like to describe it is, it's one of the many signals that I think sales and marketers need nowadays to identify who they should be prioritizing in their pipeline. Whether that's at the top of the funnel, in the middle of the funnel throughout the opportunity process, or at the bottom of the funnel right before closing, or even the handoff to customer success post close. Outside of kind of the 5-word pitch of Journey or the quick elevator pitch, we see Journey as one of the many signals. Yeah, you need to be able to close businesses and to close customers these days. And the more creative it is, the more personalized it is, the more effective we believe it will be, and we are pushing Journey towards that direction. If that helps.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's that personalization, personalization that you can bring right to that specific. And I love the name Journey, right? Because we're all on a journey, and we're on a sales process, and it's hopefully collaborative with that person that we're working with from that organization. And that's how we use it, right? We use it from that standpoint that we want to do an introduction process, and then each page just keeps getting added as we have more conversations with that person. And so it's exciting to use the product, right? And also to have we're doing a little switcheroos here.
No worries.
Sorry, getting messed up with the screens. We switch sides now.
No worries.
But no, I love it. I love it, the idea of how you can create that. Now, when you talk about where they are in the funnel, so what do you give us a little bit more detail about, like the signals that you mean there?
Yeah. So one thing that we believe in as XO, as a business that buys other software companies, I'm sure a lot of us here have heard of this, is time to value. And I think for a lot of product-led growth companies, and what I mean by that is maybe a business that their sales process starts with something of value that's given away from the product. That might be a free trial, might be a freemium model. But a lot of those product-led growth businesses prioritize time to value. And for longer, businesses that have an actual sales process with salespeople, the types of clients and customers that we work with here at Journey, time to value looks a little differently. We can't just, a lot of our clients just can't give stuff away, can't give an enterprise software away. So what does that time to value look like for somebody that, needs to schedule a 60-minute demo? And what we're learning is that the expectation from a buyer continues to grow and continues to be higher even before they talk to a sales rep these days. And so I think a lot of our customers are rethinking how to provide value even before they're required to talk to a salesperson. And so for us, Journey, and I think ManyMangoes is a really awesome example, is figuring out a way at scale to provide value to people who have not yet heard of you, or to people who have not yet entered your formal sales process. And for Journey, a lot of those signals are essentially just interactions with the journey. So I don't want to, I guess, self-promote too much here, but Journey is, sort of it's a presentation tool. It aggregates really great resources and pieces of content in a single link that can be shared with any prospect or anybody. and you as the person, as the sender, can receive interaction notifications, how long they spent on a particular page, who they shared it with, when they actually opened those things, and you can get real-time notifications of when that happens. And to me, and to our clients and our sales teams, those are really important signals, because it gives you an indication of what they're prioritizing, who is actually prioritizing those things, and when that actually happens. And so the personalized customer experience is aligned with what they're actually, and what our prospects and what customers are actually thinking about at that time. So it's no longer the, hey, just following up, haven't heard from you in 2 weeks. It's, hey, I noticed they looked at the pricing slide for 2 minutes, they shared that with 3 other members of their team. There's intent there, and so let's figure out and discover what's going on, and let's provide value at the point of time. And so that kind of set of interactions, whether it's at the top of the funnel with somebody cold, or somebody that's in your sales process and really evaluating your security documents and all those things, that's kind of what we're talking a little bit about in terms of signals.
Yeah, well, no, and I think that's the fun part of the process, right? As salespeople and as marketing people, we all want to know some of the data that goes around it. And I think the challenge we have is this sometimes in disparate information, and obviously that's why we end up with these dashboards sometimes that we try to look at and try to see. And the other part I love is that putting it in a unified way, right? So that it's all unified, and it's easy to create. I've used HubSpot and Salesforce and a number of other CRMs, and then sometimes it's just difficult. You got to create a different landing page, and then that landing page is unique, and it's got its own metrics. And then, I got an email that I have to send them, and I got to message them, and then I got to see if did he open his email. Again, some processes around that just creates a unified a way of using this. So we love Journey, and just we're big promoters of it, and we believe in it. So. Not to again self-promote, but third-party affirmation here for you. Danny, we enjoy the product quite a bit. What do you think from a 2024 standpoint? From using this hyper personalization is obviously value, right? Whether you use Journey or not, you use maybe some sort of a video tool to send somebody about their project. What do you find is a key to that hyper personalization to do it? Again. It's great to do it, but then how do you do it at scale as well? So what are some of the keys that you found?
Yeah, it's knowing a little bit of what those signals need to be, and what they mean. I think that's first and foremost pretty important. And I think for every business, it looks and feels really different, and it kind of goes back to time to value, where is it actually giving something like a Journey away and interacting with it? ManyMangoes does a really good job, from what I've learned from Isaac, of providing very customized plans for free that basically sort of extends this communication of like, hey, I'm familiar with you. We're familiar with a lot of companies that look like you, and here's what we found to be successful. And that kind of extension of your arm to say, hey, I know you a little bit, and here's how and here's why, and kind of extending a bit of a kind of a trust mechanism there, I think is really, really powerful. So just really understanding what those signals are, what sort of is required and maybe needed in your customer's kind of buyer journey is, I think, first and foremost. And then I hate to say this, but there are a lot of awesome tools now that really help with kind of understanding what needs to happen to create hyper personalization. And you were talking a little bit about AI stuff, so I hate to jump on that bandwagon again, but one thing we're really it is one thing we're really excited about that we're building is an integration with a tool called Clay. And I think on LinkedIn it's a really popular tool. They just raised a big round of funding, so I'm sure it's kind of out there in what it does, but it provides a really unique way to create personalization. If you're not familiar with it, I would encourage you to go check it out. But nowadays, uploading a list and sending out cold emails to 1,000 people doesn't work anymore. You need to figure out a way to make those conversations and those pieces of content one-to-one, So it feels personalized, but you're able to do it on the back end at scale. And what we've identified is the further you start journey, the usage of journey at the top of the funnel, the more success you have in converting those prospects at the bottom. And so what we're now able to do and what we're building is to create a journey for every single individual prospect that you're engaging with in a multi-channel approach at scale. And so it's, hey, here's John Doe at Fortune 500 food and beverage category company. Here's their email address. Here's a couple things from their LinkedIn that we pulled. Here's some news articles that pulled about their business that came out over the last 2 weeks. And oh, by the way, here's a journey that will automatically get generated based off of those inputs and based off of those very specific things that you've identified. And being able to do that for every single prospect in an account-based approach, in your event-based kind of marketing, in whatever it might be. But being able to integrate, I think, journey as a signal in one of the many great tools that are out there that are coming out to help with personalization, that's sort of an approach. Because again, yeah, journey is a signal. It's not the signal. It's not the only signal. And so how do we integrate that into other places where signals are getting aggregated and leveraged for, again, whether it's lead scoring or just kind of, personalization? That's sort of where we're headed and why it's really important to leverage these signals appropriately.
Yeah, no, that's super excited. And I definitely think that, we all go down this road where building value, time to value, building value, knowing the value proposition to the company and communicating that value is what sales and marketing's job is, right? But I think, speaking to the appropriate people in the organization at the right time. And I think that's the other part is, when I get an email from somebody that I even want, I want to engage with these people. I kind of want to buy their product, but I want to know more. It's so far down, right? Like, so email, it's deprioritized. Even if I try to keep a clean inbox, it's in a folder. So that's even worse. It's like now it's in this folder of this project that I want to do. So I think, this collaboratory environment where you're creating this journey with the customer, with the prospect, to build them to customer, where there's one place, like one hyperlink that I can go to, and it has all of the information that we've talked about, discussed, proposals, videos that we've done, the notes from the first meeting, the to-dos from the list, who's on the to-do, right? Like, I've got to get them back that information. So I really, really think that's a great process for businesses to adopt, whether you use Journey or not. Finding a way to do that, right? Like creating a simple process for sales once you engage with them, because in the noise of life, and there might be some noise behind me, sorry, but in the noise of life, it gets hard to even follow up with the things you want to do, if that makes sense.
100%. I think, don't quote me on this, but I want to say, nowadays the buyer, 80% of their decision-making process is already made before they're talking to, a salesperson on the other side. I think, something similar is, less than a couple percentage points of the buying journey or buying decision-making process is spent actually talking with a sales rep. So, all of that time that's spent, to your point, digging in your email to figure out, hey, what was it that they said? Or, hey, what was that vendor? And what did they send to me? All that time that's spent, like ideally, there are, and this is, again, this sort of a element of time to value is how are you making it easy for them to make a decision, whether it's a yes or a no. And this is cliche, but as salespeople, it's like a no is an even better answer than a non-answer, right? Because you're able to move on to what's next and the next priority on your opportunity or whatever you're working off of. And so providing that value within that buyer experience is, I think, really important. And we always joke about this. It's like, how many times, and we probably don't know the number of times, but just imagine the number of times that somebody goes and searches sales presentation tool in their email search, and out comes 4 other competitors, including yours. Yours just happens to be the 8th email. the person clicks on the third email and it's, not you, but they're like, oh man, oh yeah, I remember those guys. Like, let me go and then they end up buying that. And it's just, to your point, like, how do you stand out amongst the noise? How are you leveraging, value creation to, provide a buyer's experience that, they'll actually care about and remember and prioritize. And those are all the things that sort of we're thinking about, not only as we build the product, but also as we sell Journey as well.
Yeah, it's a great point. And when I find so a little bit less about Journey. So what, as an investor, as a guy who buys companies, what do you see? I mean, obviously we've gone through some changes in the market. Money is a little bit harder to come by. Your valuations of companies have changed, probably, of what you think that is. Give us some insight around how you do that. Many of us in this, might be listening, have companies or seeking investment or have taken investors. What's your, thought from 2024, halfway through the year, around kind of that investment world?
Yeah. So I think if I remember on the panel, Adam Robinson will be joining at some point. He's the CEO, founder of RB2B, super smart dude, built a really interesting product that went to market and has grown really quickly. He's a really great example. And I hate to, and maybe this is appropriate, but time to value is what we look at when we evaluate businesses, because time to value is sort of a conduit for product market fit, in our opinion. And nowadays, there isn't a lot of wiggle room to acquire a business that has yet to find product market fit, because the required set of resources and investment to go find product market fit has exponentially grown. Whether that's because of competition, whether that's because software development has become somewhat commoditized. So, the actual tech itself is a little less valuable. And so, time to value and its alignment with product market fit is really something that we look at and we prioritize. And a element of that we have, like, conversations with, and maybe to walk away or take, kind of go outside of like hard numbers and metrics. I think everyone sort of knows that that's important, is what type of like experiments have you done? What type of things have you done to improve time to value or improve your free to paid conversion or sign up to paid conversion? And what have you learned? What has it told you about your market and who your ideal customers are? Those sort of like qualitative conversations I think is important, because again, it isn't easy, and it isn't like, 2004 where it's like, hey, I built this really great tool for marketers and I'm just going to go and buy a list of marketers, go to a couple of events, and I'm going to, raise my seed round because I have, $5 million in pipeline. Like that kind of conversation no longer exists. Like, you need actual revenue, you need month over month growth. And you need to like understand who your customers actually are, because the resources you're about to spend or you're about to get from somebody needs to be spent quickly with efficiency. And so for us, again, identifying time to value, what's working, what's not, and having conversations around experimentation. What have you done with pricing? What have you done with, if you're a free tool, your free limits, to figure out, what sort of the aha moment is that creates somebody and gets somebody to convert. I think Slack has that famous story, right? Of, hey, a certain number of messages within a free Slack org, was like a 70% conversion to paid. And so their entire onboarding process, their entire process for activation was around, how do we get people to actually exchange messages on Slack to get to that, aha moment. And that's just gold, right?
It's operational adoption right there, right? Like, if they have a tool and they don't use it, they're not going to buy it. That's just a simple thing is that. But
yes,
to your point, right, building that free model and then onboarding that to make sure that they have enough interactions with the tool that they enjoy, then boom, you're in, which is a great story. One of the things I find unique is that a lot of businesses, a lot of founders are really good, at what they know to do and how they've kind of come to the market with their specific kind of use case, or they feel like their product is solving a specific problem. What I find is sometimes a disconnect, like to your point, which is how many experiments have you done? How do you really know what your ideal customer profile is beyond what you think you've taken it to? And then where's your total? I think most people too don't really understand their total market value, like their total size of the market is skewed. Like they don't have an accurate picture of that. Do you find that to be similar in experience?
100%. There's a sort of an interesting saying going around in terms of kind of marketing and trying to leverage outbound marketing is instead of trying to figure out like your product market fit when you're doing cold outbound or outbound marketing, it's this idea of like message market fit. And it's because, who your product serves most likely is very broad. It could be 100,000 people that it could serve, but the actual messaging, the bet that you make, the headline on your website, the one thing that you're pushing your users to do in your product as soon as they log in, that's one singular thing, or at least it should be. And so that one thing generally does not support the 100,000 people that you think your product can support. And so it's sort of that commitment to make a bet, that commitment to say, hey, like, yes, I'm about to neglect probably 75% of this 100,000 people, but I know that, and my bet is that the 25% of those people, there's a higher likelihood that they'll convert. So let me give this a go, and let me put some parameters in place to test what that looks like. And it's one of those things. It's like you put something on your website and you think the whole world is going to like freak out about it, and you change something on your pricing, and lo and behold, not very many people care or notice that anything changed. And so it's just, I think, getting over that commitment, or getting over that kind of hurdle of kind of fear of just making a bet and moving on from it. And I think that's the beauty of building something, is like, especially when you're able to kind of validate whether something is working or not with data, like you can move on. It's not, you're not stuck there because you posted something on your website or you built something in your product. You can quickly iterate and change. And I think that's really important nowadays, to really figure out who that very small niche of buyers are within your larger ICP.
Well, hey, Danny, we appreciate you joining. And I know what we like to do here is offer some sort of, something that could be of value to our listeners and our viewers and the people that we might watch this on a rewatch. We have something that we generally try to give away. I know you might have something like that. Is there something that they can do to learn more about Journey?
Oh, sure. Ooh, I'm not prepared, but I can hand something over to Isaac and y'all's team if that's
Yes.
helpful. You can definitely put together like a promo code and a discount code of some sort
That would be
to
awesome.
hand over to you all. So I can definitely prepare that and share it with you all. So
we'll do that. We'll add that at the end. All you have to do is message us a little bit more in the side, or later if you watch this. We have a little resource page for all of the people that participated in the offers that they're going to have. So Danny, we appreciate you joining, and we look forward to continuing our journey with you. Yes. Using your product. We're a big fan.
I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, thank you.